Have you ever taken a bite of something and wondered why it tastes so familiar yet feels so different? Maybe you've enjoyed a flaky biscuit with your morning coffee or savored a scone alongside a cup of tea. At first glance, these two baked goods seem pretty similar. They're both buttery, crumbly, and absolutely delicious. Whether you're a home baker, a brunch aficionado, or someone who loves to explore the subtle nuances of comfort food, understanding what sets these two apart is not only fascinating, but also useful. Join me as we uncover what makes biscuits and scones unique from each other. Let's start by traveling back in time to explore where biscuits and scones come from. Biscuits, as we know them in the United States, are a product of Southern cuisine. They trace their roots to British baking traditions, but over time, they evolved into something uniquely American. In the South, biscuits became a staple food due to their simplicity and affordability. Early recipes used basic ingredients like flour, butter, milk, and a leavening agent to create a fluffy and versatile bread that could complement any meal. On the other hand, scones originated in Scotland and are a cornerstone of British and Irish cuisine. The word scone is believed to have derived from the Scots Gaelic term scone, meaning a shapeless mass or lump. Unlike biscuits, which are often served with savory dishes, scones were initially more associated with sweet accompaniments like jam and clotted cream. Over time, they became a quintessential part of afternoon tea, a ritual deeply ingrained in British culture. Let's move on to what goes into these baked goods. Biscuits typically call for all-purpose flour, baking powder or baking soda, butter or shortening, and buttermilk. The emphasis is on achieving a light and flaky texture. The dough is mixed minimally to avoid developing too much gluten, which can make the biscuit tough. The key technique here is cutting in the butter, creating small pockets of fat that produce layers as the dough bakes. Scones, however, lean toward being richer and denser. Their recipes often include heavy cream or whole milk, sometimes an egg and a touch of sugar. Even for savory versions, this gives scones a more tender crumb and a slightly firmer structure. Unlike biscuits, the dough for scones is usually rolled out thicker and cut into triangles, squares, or rounds before baking. Both biscuits and scones rely on cold butter to achieve their signature textures, but the way they're handled during mixing and shaping plays a major role in their final form. Now, let's talk about the experience of biting into a biscuit versus a scone. Biscuits are light, airy, and flaky. When done right, they almost melt in your mouth. The flavor is usually savory, making them a perfect vessel for toppings like butter, honey, or gravy. Southern biscuits, in particular, are prized for their fluffiness, which comes from the use of buttermilk and careful handling of the dough. Scones, on the other hand, are slightly denser and more crumbly. The flavor profile leans sweeter, even in savory versions. They often feature add-ins like dried fruits, chocolate chips, or herbs, adding layers of complexity. The texture is firmer and more structured, making them ideal for slathering with jam or cream without falling apart. Biscuits and scones also have distinct serving styles that highlight their cultural roots. Biscuits are incredibly versatile. In the southern United States, they're often served as a side dish to hearty meals like fried chicken or barbecue. They're also a breakfast staple, paired with eggs, sausage, or gravy. One popular variation is the biscuit sandwich, where a biscuit is split open and filled with meats, cheeses, or even sweet spreads. Scones, by contrast, are synonymous with tea time. They're traditionally served with clotted cream and jam, especially in British households. In the US, scones have become a popular coffee shop item, often paired with a latte or cappuccino. Sweet versions dominate the scene, but savory scones, featuring ingredients like cheese, herbs, or bacon, are also growing in popularity. Both biscuits and scones have regional variations that add even more layers to their identities. In the US, there's the cathead biscuit, a larger, rustic version named for its size, said to resemble a cat's head. On the other hand, angel biscuits incorporate yeast in addition to baking powder, giving them a fluffier texture akin to a dinner roll. Scones also have their fair share of variations. In Scotland, you'll find oat-based scones that are heartier and less sweet. Meanwhile, in Australia and New Zealand, scones are often served with whipped cream and jam, much like the British tradition, but with their own twist. Finally, let's answer the burning question: which one should you choose? The answer depends on your preferences and the occasion. If you're craving something light and fluffy to complement a savory meal, biscuits are the way to go. They're also easier to whip up on short notice, given their minimal ingredients and quick prep time. If you're looking for a sweet or slightly indulgent treat to enjoy with tea or coffee, scones are the better option. Their rich texture and potential for creative add-ins make them a delightful choice for breakfast or an afternoon snack. Ultimately, there's no wrong answer. It's all about what you're in the mood for. So, there you have it. The key differences between biscuits and scones, from their origins and ingredients to their textures and serving styles. While they may share some similarities, these two baked goods have distinct personalities that make them each special in their own right. Whether it's the buttery flakiness of a biscuit or the tender richness of a scone, there's plenty to love about both. Thanks for joining me in exploring the fascinating world of biscuits and scones. If you found this breakdown helpful, give it a like, share it with your fellow food lovers, and subscribe for more deep dives into the delicious details of everyday eats. See you next time.